Scraping and stretching otter is kind of an art of its own. It takes some muscle there to do that. One thing for sure, regardless of what kind of fur it is, be sure there's no burrs, chunks of blood, debris, sand, stuff like that. Be sure you got a nice clean pelt to work with. A couple of the tools I'll use is mainly a good fleshing knife, and some of my fleshing knives are getting kind of wore anymore. But this knife has been around a long time. I've scraped a lot of fur with it. A good fleshing knife and a good trimming knife, and of course a stretcher. And I'll show you how all that stuff works. Basically take your otter, turn him wrong side out. There's all kinds of different methods a guy can use for this. I've seen some other type of systems that works well. This is one I grew up on and am familiar with. Works real well for me. They're a long animal. I like to work from on the fur over the beam. I like to sleeve the otter down over the beam. This is one of the places where some guys will get into trouble singeing their otter, is because they're too strong. Some guys just get so rammy pushing that it'll actually create a friction in there between the board and the fur, and it'll actually singe that otter on a beam. You're not going to tear the hide. You can push all you want to, you're not going to tear the hide. They're so tough, it's just real hard to tear them. Okay? I'm going to grab a paper towel here. Here again, an apron or something works real nice. Something in your belt loop here will help you hold the otter on the beam. I like burlap normally, but evidently who loaded my truck didn't get any in there. So be sure your otter's tight. I start with a sharp knife right up on the eyes and come right down the back of the head. We've got a pretty good audience here, guys. I'm not looking up, I'm watching what I'm doing. If you got a question, holler it out there and we'll go from there.
Sharper the knife, the better, Norm?
A sharp knife is important here. Maybe not super sharp, but a sharp knife is important. Good question, a sharp knife. This knife here, I'd like to see it just a hair sharper for what I'm doing, but we can make it happen here. This is going to be a little bit of a rude awakening for you guys that have scraped a lot of coon. These are different animals. These are different animals. You're right. A little more finesse. Good word, finesse. That's what you have to have. When you get down past the shoulders, if it's a good prime otter, you can kind of push some. Keep that pelt up close to you. Pull him up a little bit. Don't be reaching plumb down here and killing your back. Keep him pulled up to you. Experience is always the answer. And this otter here, I know I can push him some because it's coming off that well. Use the dull side of your knife. Like I said, you're not going to tear him, but try not to let the friction build up on him. Pull him up. Keep the work area on your stroke. One of the things I like to do, whether it's coon, otter, beaver, whatever, I don't like to get my beam all greasy before I'm done. So I work it down towards the end and I stop. And I start back up here around the ears again. when you're shaving the otter or a beaver or shaving anything, it's kind of a feeling you get. When it wants to roll and not shave, it'll push. If that makes any sense. Some of you guys that have scraped coon and stuff like that, out beaver stuff, when she's shaving good, it's a shearing action and it shaves right off. When it don't want to shave real good, it'll probably push. Best way I can explain it, it's more of an experience thing. I usually try to tell folks when we're doing demonstrations like this, don't worry about cutting it once in a while, because you're going to. Until you get some experience, you're going to cut them. And after you've got thousands of pelts under your hand, you're still going to cut one once in a while. So go ahead and do it. You're going to cut one. We all do it. So you get more proficient the more you do. I like to bring the front leg up over the end of the beam. That way I can clean out from under his arm real well. This is a dull side, and you can kind of push off that fat. And a prime pelt, regardless of whether it's an otter or beaver or fox or whatever, there's that layer of fat under the membrane that generally the dull side of a knife can push right off. Some up around the head and the neck area, there's more membrane, less fat, and you have to kind of shave it off of the leather.
With a knife? Or with
A good fleshing knife like this is the ticket. I have seen guys use draw knives and stuff like that, turn them around backwards. I've seen guys, the Indians of course didn't have nothing but a sharp stone when they did this, but we've got some tools here that really work well, Good question though, and it's really hard to explain until you really do a lot of it. One of the things that's important is talk to your buyer, see how he wants it. Because sometimes your buyer will have people lined up just to do that. I know one guy, he has one guy that does all of his otter, and he hires that guy just for his otter because he does a super job at it. When you get down to the bottom here, guys, you just start pushing it off. One of the things that'll help you with a fleshing knife is lean that knife forward, and it'll help you from tearing stuff off, especially in coon or possums or something of that nature. Here again, an otter, he's going to be kind of hard to tear. They're so thick. What to do in different temperatures or different conditions to try to help your product. Here right now, to me, this is an extreme situation. This fat's already wanting to melt here in the sunshine. This otter pelt's getting hot. Don't do this at home, guys. Put him in your garage, out of the wind, out of the sun. This isn't the best scenario, but we're doing this for an example. So to answer your question, yes, I like otter that are 40 degrees. Obviously you can't work with them if they're frozen, but the cooler the temperature, the more you'll like your product. Yes, sir. The question is, will the leather be blue in an early season? Yes, definitely. They will prime up just like a coon, and the time of primeness, perfect primeness on otter is similar to coon. Right there in the middle of December for this area probably would be your primest otter in this area. Same way it is kind of at home. But the blue pelt doesn't devaluate the price of the otter as much as it does in coon, okay? This is the part everybody's kind of wondering, how in the world does he get all that meat and fat off that tail? Got to use your sharp side, but you got to be extremely careful here, because this is where you'll cut through it, this is where you'll cut the edges, this is where you, and the best thing to do is get a hold of one and scrape him. You'll learn. You'll learn. It's kind of a learned thing. It's almost all gristle down here, guys, and it's tough. Some of it you can push sometimes, depending upon the otter. This is a male otter, so his tail's just a little bit longer and a little fattier, a little thicker. Usually I have noticed once I break that original skin on there, sometimes I can push it. And this otter's a real fat otter, so we're going to be able to push some of this one. And you can, like here again, not like a coon tail, you've got some strength there, so you can get right with it here. You can get right with it. I have to apologize, guys. This is not my beam. This is a little bit different than what I'm used to at home. But we're gonna make it here. We're gonna make it. I use a wider beam at home that's set out a little flatter, and I'm not fighting this tail flopping around as much. It stays right there. But once you get your beam set up and everything, once you get your system work into it, and you can do it. Personally, I like a little flatter beam and a little wider beam. My wife loves this narrower beam, and it's got to do with your upper body strength. You know, how much pressure can I put on it? Take a wide strip or narrow strip. It's got to have roundness to it. Yeah, I use an 8-inch beam at home, and if you want to build your beam, you can build one, but buy a good piece of wood with no knots, because this particular beam here had a knot in it, and it's got a notch in it now. I sell some beams in there, and they're a little expensive, but they're good stuff. I recommend you buy good stuff. This is your fleshing knife, and your fleshing beam pays you to spend some money.